Should be showing up in your feed now. And if anybody watches this later, I'm going to say after what the kids went through last year, I'm enjoying seeing the first day of school shit that I used to bitch about. I really am. I'm honestly enjoying seeing it. I can say that.
I don't know. I think you should stick with your old man on the porch curmudgeon view of that.
I got plenty of those. I've got those takes all day long on a variety of other subjects, but on this one I've softened.
Yeah.
Some of you who are a long time.
By the way, you see this thing on the top of my head, this cut, this scab now?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You know what happened?
I
got attacked.
Oh no.
No, I got attacked by the trunk of my car. I was putting in some groceries and it attacked me.
And
which is not to be confused with I'm a fucking idiot who leaned over and hit my head on the trunk. Do not confuse that story with that.
You didn't get extremely dramatic and call 911 and talk about how you're dying or anything like that?
No. All right.
I'm ready when you are, man.
Ready?
I am.
It's the Brad and Britt cast for this week. It's our first one. Let me start off with a little story here. So Jesus, Jack Nicklaus, and the coronavirus are playing golf. You know what? And it doesn't even need a punchline because it's that good.
The big news of this day, of course, is that the Pfizer vaccine has received full FDA approval, which I'm sure will erase any skeptics who have any problems with it. And now those folks are immediately going to go and get the shot in their arm. Pfizer is the one that is in your body. It's the one that went in my body. And I will be getting a third shot sometime in November. I'm assuming you're going to be the same way this fall.
I don't know what you're talking about because I'm going to get a shot of Comirnaty. They've already renamed it. It's already got a name.
What is Comirnaty? What is Comirnaty?
Comirnaty. And, we talked about this weeks ago. And just the fact that it already has a name change and they're going to give it a name like all the other drugs that you see, I would expect drug commercials for this vaccine that look and are as annoying as all the other ones that you see nonstop to appear fairly quickly. And by the way, I'm not a media buyer. I'm not an ad wizard. I'm not a genius. But
clearly,
guess what? You don't have to bother to buy MSNBC. You don't have to bother to buy CNN. Sorry, guys. Just throw it on Fox News and all those syndicated shows that are, that skew red. This is an easy one. You go for your target audience, people who need to get a shot. Now, of course, you can refine it and then talk about the third shot that you're going to get of Comirnaty on CNN and MSNBC and the channels that have a much higher percentage of people who already have been vaccinated and are not resistant to it. But you got to go pedal. This is a big win for Fox. We relate everything either to Fox, to Trump, to The Godfather, or to Seinfeld. Well, we can explain everything, and there.
This is correct because there are a lot of people who were against Obamacare, but they loved the what was the ADA?
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but Britt, you hit it. You know what? If they rolled this out now on with commercials as a brand new drug, it just can't. It's brand new, and you know what? It prevents you from getting really, really sick and dying. Side effects include it hurts your arm, and you might, and that's about it. You know what? I don't think they have enough side effects for this to be an actual drug commercial, because in every other drug commercial that you see, the side effects are 60% of the 30 seconds of the commercial. Or
that was always the thing.
Right?
People would always say, well, this Affordable Care Act is great. Why didn't they do this instead of Obamacare? And that's what they'll do with this new. Why didn't they have this instead of the vaccine? Why didn't they always have this thing? I don't understand. So that
right.
So it's going to be, but I feel anybody that said, well, it's not FDA approved. And the minute it gets FDA approval, that's when I'm going to go get it. Of course, that was a fig leaf. Or in other words, it was a lie.
But Britt, of course, it made no sense to ever think that. But I want you to think how stupid you must really know you are if today you decide that this is the moment.
Right.
Now it has the approval of the FDA. So today or tomorrow, I'm going to go get vaccinated. And of course, you have almost a full month from that first day that you get the first shot till after the second one starts to until you're really immune, till really kicks in. So you have at least a month. So how dumb will you feel if you get sick now in the next month and end up on a ventilator? The utter insanity of this whole situation is so beyond any, because I can guarantee you, whatever they're going to put into your arm today or over the next few weeks or next few months, it's the same as it's been for the last 8 months. It's the same shit.
Same shot.
It's the same stuff.
Same effectiveness.
It's the same stuff.
Same non-side effects, everything.
Although I think we can speak to our people here and let them know that the dirty little secret. From now on, the microchip will not be part of the injection, right? They have changed that.
Well, the 5G has gotten way better. Yeah. Certainly, it's going in. Exactly. Jesus Christ. Hey, How stupid can people be? Well, let's take you to Mississippi, where they're telling you not to take a drug that is meant for horses. This is the ivermectin. It's a dewormer for horses, and it's been touted by a lot of right-wing folks as some sort of preventative for getting COVID-19. So Mississippi officials have had to issue a warning saying, please don't go into the livestock store, grab this shit and start putting it into your body.
I don't remember what company makes that drug. But the company put out a statement just like this, I think last week. And there is somewhere to be found a supercut of all the people on Fox and Trump saying the name of this drug.
Ivermectin, and it is made by Merck, a little company called Merck that you may have heard of.
Okay, so that Merck put out a statement last week, and obviously that's not good enough. And obviously, people who run Mississippi putting out a statement, that's not good enough to go up against the medical expertise of Doctors Hannity and Dr. Ingram and Dr. Carlson and Dr. Trump, the true medical experts who you should take your coronavirus vaccine advice from. I think this one caught on. I think it's because of the name. It's a good name. It sounds like it should be working, right? It sounds like it should be doing something. What does it do for horses anyway? What is its function?
It gets rid of worms.
Oh God,
that's what it is. And this is the statement that they put out. I'm looking at this statement. Do you want to go high low?
Wait. Can I just ask just a rhetorical question? If the purpose of the drug is to get rid of worms in horses, maybe it's not such a bad idea. Maybe a lot of these people who
shit out some worms,
even if they think it's for coronavirus, they might need the deworming on themselves, and maybe it would work on humans for its stated purpose. Go.
When do you think that Merck put out a statement saying don't take ivermectin as a preventative when do you think they did this?
Originally, I thought last week was the first time. Did they do it a long time ago?
Try February the 4th at 11:45 a.m. February the 4th of 2021, Merck is putting out a strong warning saying, and this is what they're saying, there is no scientific basis for a potential therapeutic effect against COVID-19 from preclinical studies. There is no meaningful evidence for clinical activity or clinical efficacy in patients with COVID-19, and a concerning lack of safety data for the majority of studies. So again, the deaths that some of these idiots are imagining from the actual vaccine itself, what, again, do you want to play high-low on the people that are actually going to die from taking this bullshit that was meant for horses, that was instead of actually getting the vaccine, which is completely safe?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of any actual deaths from it, but
not yet.
Yeah. By the way, as a proud shareholder of Merck, I've never been.
Well, I understand these medical stocks are doing pretty well today. I understand your Modernas, your Pfizer's, your Mercks, they're all doing fairly well today. So everybody,
Merck's down 4 cents today.
Oh man, see, they should have rocked with it and say, "Yeah, go ahead, take the dewormer, shit out your guts. We don't care. Fuck it."
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of deaths from COVID-19 over the weekend, this was announced. Phil Valentine, the Nashville talk show host, who has been mentioned in this space, who was sick for a long time from COVID-19, and his original response when it was found out that he was diagnosed with coronavirus was, "I'm sorry, haters, I'm still alive." That literally was his statement. Is now no longer alive. It was announced he died over the weekend toward the end of his life. Of course, I think he was on a ventilator for at least 3 weeks, possibly longer. He tried to urge some people and, of course, tried to rehabilitate his reputation by saying he wasn't really anti-vax, but he should have been stronger pro-vax. Phil Valentine, whose father was a Democratic congressman from Eastern North Carolina. Phil Valentine is now dead. I know what you're thinking. How is Phil Valentine dead and Sean Hannity still alive? Why?
By the way, that goes without saying. By the way, Britt, would you like the actual answer to that? It's because Sean Hannity is vaccinated.
He had
has been vaccinated from day one. How about that?
So is Tucker Carlson.
They're all vaccinated, which just makes it even more insidious. So just think, it's as if Jim Jones at Guyana had a placebo cup of Kool-Aid. It was actually right, and he's drinking it, right? And all those people out there, they're sucking it down and they're dropping like flies.
Right.
That's what this is. That's what Fox is doing to their viewers.
And then he would tell his followers, they're going to tell you not to drink this stuff, but you need to drink it. You need to drink this stuff because look, I drank it. I'm fine. So drink this fucking Kool-Aid.
Right. Speaking of poison, which is what Fox is, they're poison in the discussion in the country right now on every issue. It either rolls right back to them or to Trump and the usual suspects. I'm driving maybe about an hour and a half ago back here. I was at our friends at Triad Dentistry today. Everything looks good. I'm fine, and I'm driving, and that gave me a chance. I'm zipping by, and I had on Fox News channel for you Sirius XM folks. That's channel 114 for 15 seconds. 15 seconds, and this is what the statement was by the anchor. I believe it was that Harris Faulkner.
Okay,
and she was beside herself, and here's why. Because she cannot believe that Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, hasn't flown over to Afghanistan, to the Kabul airport, where, of course, it must be safe, right? That's what they say, to show the world and to show the women of the world and the women in Afghanistan who we say she needs to go over there and stand up for the United States of America. So this is the kind of baiting. This is the kind of bullshit. This is bullshit. And by the way, they had a military person on. I couldn't figure out who it was, but the military person said right back to her, that's one of that's ridiculous. There's absolutely no point in that. It would be a distraction. There's so many things wrong with the fact that A, she said it, B, she might actually think it, C, that if she went, that Fox wouldn't be pounding the shit out of her for diverting American resources to protecting little Kamala Harris over there, making a big statement and a photo op. Right. So they advise you to do something that they know if you actually did it, which you're not going to do it because it's stupid, they would be the first ones to jump. That is the definition. Look it up in your dictionary of disingenuous. Look it up. There it is.
I can go
That's
you one
it right
further.
there.
Harris Faulkner's co-workers over the New York Post are saying that Kamala Harris laughed when she was asked about the tragedy in Afghanistan. That is in the New York Post.
Oh, they're going hard with that one.
Yeah,
they're going hard
that's
with
a
that
huge
one.
one right there. That she was at a line, she was asked
Oh,
about it.
no, wait, no, it's not just she's laughing. Biden's laughing.
All right.
Secretary of State Blinken is. They're all laughing at this, and so just so you know. And by the way, speaking of journalism and this stuff, we should not let the week go by without mentioning Joe Galloway, who we had Joe Galloway on for one segment once, I do believe, on ZTK. Do you recall that? Do you recall?
I thought it was more than once, but I do remember. Yeah, absolutely, one time for sure.
Right, so Joe Galloway is, by any measure, the greatest war correspondent in the American press that we've ever had, and that's saying a lot, because there have been some famous ones. You old people know the name Ernie Pyle, not Gomer Pyle, Ernie Pyle.
Ernie Pyle, yeah,
who died in World War II covering the war. And Galloway was decorated with the Bronze Star, and he wasn't even actually in the military, but he did what he needed to do, and he called it out in Vietnam, and he called it out back when it wasn't popular here in the United States, when we invaded Iraq. He saw it for what it was going to be. He was smarter than you, smarter than me. He saw through it, and he retired a good 10 years ago, I know. So we had him on before that, of course. But he was just the best of the best. He saw through it. He didn't let anything get by him. You couldn't.
We Were Soldiers Once and Young, which is considered kind of the standard for the kind of book that it is and was.
Yep.
Tremendous. He certainly missed and was very, very good. Speaking of Afghanistan, polls showing Biden's approval rating sliding to new lows. Of course, people are not happy with it, although when they dig into the numbers on this, there are a lot of people who agree with him withdrawing the troops. I think what we've drilled down to is it's the manner in which he did it. I think most Americans before and at least during do agree that American troops should have come out of Afghanistan. But I think that's where the criticism is now kind of going, is that he did it in such a way that it was unsuccessful. Do you think that's correct?
I know you're going to not like me for this. But I don't care about these polls. Okay. I don't care about the day-to-day shit here. It means not, and it truly means nothing to me. And I'm going to tell you, I am aggressively watching less of the coverage of this on television than I've ever watched something of this so-called magnitude, because the quote liberal media has decided this is their moment to show that they just don't pile on to Donald Trump. Yeah. They're going to pile on to Joe Biden because it's all Joe Biden's fault. The previous 20 years meant nothing. It's only the last 20 days that matters. And they're going to go heavy and they're going to go hard on it. And of course, that you get these these snap polls that are going to show that. And I'm not taking the bait this time. I'm not taking the bait. And
well, allow me for just one.
Let's put it this way. Hang on. I can have two thoughts at the same time. One, that Biden, of course, is 100% right in saying that's it. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. And I can say, they could have handled this a little bit better. But in terms of Joe Biden's approval ratings, I still like Joe Biden. And I'm glad that asshole face isn't the president of the United States. And I don't want asshole face to be the next president of the United States, because that's what the point of these polls is. They're push polls. They're trying to get people to, at some level, think that, number one, Biden is the worst commander-in-chief in the history of the country. He can't make a decision. He can't be consistent. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a senile old fart. He has no clue. And God, as bad as maybe Trump was, I'm told, God, but at least Donald Trump, that's what this is all about. And I resent it. I don't like it. I don't like being put in the position of having to defend the video that's out there. because there's no defending the video.
Right.
And there's no defending the fact, more importantly, that for the last 10 years and accelerated through the Trump administration, they fucked up the process of allowing people in Afghanistan to get visas and to come here. You want to talk about not being able to have two thoughts at the same time unless you're out of your mind? Here it is. Ready? Republicans also want this war to end. They want us to come home. They're done with this. But at the same time, we don't want any fucking Afghans coming to this country as refugees. Not a one, because they're dirty, filthy Muslims, and they're part of the plot to replace us. And they're part of Democrats' plan to win elections. That's right. That's what they're. So you know what? I'm not going there. I'm not taking the bait, and I'm not going to react to polls, which is what I just did. I'm not reacting to the what's in the poll. I'm just reacting to the idea that they're going to poll this and then write stories about it. You want to talk about a self-fulfilling load of shit? That's what this is. Go.
Allow me to spank myself a little bit on those poll numbers. They are showing Joe Biden at 50-50, at least in one of the polls that Politico was pointing to, and I think it's 49-48 into another one. That's how terrible he is cratered on this situation. Well, still poll numbers that are above water or at least
it's statistically it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter right now.
The other part of this that I would like to deep dive into what you're talking about as far as the liberal media, because this seems to be the narrative that they've settled on. Yes, we needed to be out of Afghanistan, but there must have been a better way. Without explaining, alluding to, mapping out, or even saying anything about what that better way is. There's just some sort of mythical better way in which people don't die. Everybody goes out orderly. We just say, hey, Taliban, here's the keys. We'll get our security deposit back in 2 weeks. There is no offer of that. It's just the liberal media is basically saying, gosh, there just must have been a better way. That seems to be what they've landed on.
Yeah. And I think people like you, we're going to count on the fact that, number one, within a few weeks, this will subside. Just about everybody that wants to get out will get out. However, in the world in which we live now, if there is one person left, right? One person left who doesn't make it out of Afghanistan, who helped us in the war, and they get killed or their family gets killed, this is going to live forever. That's the problem.
Of course.
That is going to be the problem. Right? I mean, we didn't talk about the exit from Vietnam in 1975 that happened on Gerald Ford's watch forever. It didn't linger at all. Jimmy Carter didn't campaign on it in 1976.
No.
He beat Gerald Ford, but he didn't do it based on that Gerald Ford lost the Vietnam War. Okay? My God, we should have gotten out of there more gracefully at the end. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
But hang on. It used to not work that way.
Correct. That is correct.
Unfortunately, it may work that way. And I wouldn't doubt that if the election were held tomorrow, like we like to say here in the wonderful world of myth, the election, that Donald Trump wouldn't be running ads with people falling off of those airplanes leaving Kabul airport or Hamid Karzai International Airport, whatever it's called. He'd use that. Do you doubt me?
I don't doubt me. I do not. I don't doubt you on any of that. That seems to be
right. And if I was commander in chief, that wouldn't happen. Right. And the hypocrisy, the sheer audacity of criticism coming from people and throwing people on TV like Paul fucking Wolfowitz to criticize this now. The biggest cheerleaders in 2001, 2002, 2003, all of the cheerleaders are now the critics.
But how many people now have forgotten that Paul Wolfowitz was one of the architects of that absolute stinking failure known as Iraq? How many people have forgotten that or don't know? They were watching. They don't have the context on that guy.
Right. If you just live long enough, that's
Yeah.
true. If you just live long enough.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't know. Everybody should know what this guy did to kill thousands of Americans at the cost of trillions of dollars and make us look like shit on the international stage. And perhaps if we hadn't shifted our attention to Iraq for no good reason, we might have had more resources and been more successful in Afghanistan, but perhaps not. I mean, I would like to give it a shot, but as you say, here's Wolfowitz expounding upon bullshit as if he knows shit about Shat, because he doesn't. These were the poll numbers I was referring to. 50-50 in the CBS News poll. And I'll just go ahead and say, Donald Trump would have killed for 50-50. Donald Trump, at any point during his presidency, would have murdered somebody to get to 50-50. Tell me who I have to kill to get to 50-50.
Well, again, excuse me, pardon me, but it's the trend. It's the direction.
I understand
when you're
that.
Down to hang on, Britt. You got to be fair here. If you're down to 50-50 when you were at 58, and in 2 weeks you lose that, I mean, that is a thing. But the reason it's a thing is not because the election is going to be held tomorrow. It's because of the unmistakably terrible images that we're looking at right now, and that's driving the numbers down. I wouldn't say, oh, well, 50-50. That's great because it's better than anything Trump ever had. That's not how it works.
It's not great. But again, there's the headline is polls showing approval rating sliding to new lows. Well, when your low is 50, especially considering what we just went through. And yeah, I can play the turnaround game on this. You can imagine if this would happen in the Trump administration, a parade of idiots would have come on TV, including Larry Kudlow, going, the American people only care about how their financial situation and how this economy is picking back up. They don't give a shit about what's going on in Afghanistan. A steady parade of human beings would have gone on television saying that. For sure. People care about their next truck payment. They care about their next mortgage payment, whether their kid's going to be able to go to college this fall. They don't care about somebody falling off a plane in Afghanistan. That would have been
unless
sad.
They're told, unless they are told 24/7 that that's the most important thing, and put that aside for at least a moment here, so that when someone calls you on the phone and takes a poll, or you go online and take a poll, that you don't register your disgust with how this man, Joe Biden, has ruined the reputation of America around the world. And, I mean, look, I just think that we've been through this cycle so many times that we really would do ourselves a favor by not taking the bait, by not taking the day-to-day, hour-to-hour bait that's being thrown out there by everyone. And, look, if it turns out that this is the worst thing that the United States has ever done in foreign policy, and Joe Biden is the architect of it, so be it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this will be a blip in the memory in a few weeks and in a few months, especially if we start to turn the corner one more time. We keep turning corners. How many corners are there left to turn on the coronavirus? And a bunch more people run out and get vaccinated here, and in a month to 6 weeks, the immunity starts to kick in, and the numbers level out, and we don't close every school in the country again. If the schools close, it really doesn't matter. We're just back to where we were a year ago, and it's hard to believe we could be back to where we were a year ago, considering we do have a very effective, safe vaccine that works pretty damn well. And we'd find ourselves right back there because we had this section of the country led by, that's right, the usual suspects that convinced people that it was just a bad idea, that the cure is worse than the disease. And, to take it from there and run with it. But
as opposed to dog dewormer, where the cure is not worse than the disease.
Now, Britt, I know you're not a pharmacist. You're not a scientist. No. But if you mix, what is it, ivermectin with hydroxychloroquine, what happens?
You'll die.
What would happen to you?
You'll die, and if you live in Mississippi, your cousin will no longer be attractive to you. Speaking of which, congratulations going out to Matt Gaetz. Got himself married over the weekend. There is no truth to the rumor that they had the reception at Chuck E. Cheese. they did check IDs on this young lady. She does appear to be over 18. So there is a story that Matt Gaetz went to his daddy, Donald Trump, and got Donald Trump's permission, or at least some sort of thoughts about Donald Trump, about Matt Gaetz getting married. He went to daddy.
Wait. Well, now Trump's the expert, the godfather, the grand poobah, the all wise, all seeing person as it relates to marriage. Okay,
Matt Gaetz said he asked for former President Trump's approval before proposing to his now wife Ginger Lucky, with whom he eloped over the weekend amid a federal sex trafficking probe. The Florida Republican, who is 39, Lucky, who is 26, met at a dinner at Mar-a-Lago in March of 2020, Brad. So here is matchmaker Trump getting these two kids together. And the two got engaged at the same Trump-owned resort December the 30th. You never want to upstage the big guy, Gaetz told Vanity Fair, adding that Trump called him and his then-fiancée a dynamic duo and sent a bottle of his company's champagne to their table, Brad. Didn't want to upstage the big guy. That's what a pussy this Donald Trump is.
Wait, we've seen all these little clips over the last 6-7 months of Trump barging into people's weddings and taking the stage, just talking about himself while people are trying to celebrate their weddings. Imagine what this one's going to be like. It'll take it to a new level.
Well, can he perform the ceremony? That's going to be number one. If he can't perform the ceremony, can they get maybe Mike Pence to do? Oh, wait a minute. We hate Mike Pence now. I forgot. Didn't want to let this one go from over the weekend. Capitol police officer who killed Ashley Babbitt acted lawfully. A probe has been completed, and he has been investigated. So I'm sure this will be the end of it for people like Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise and Kevin McCarthy. They'll no longer hound this person, have their followers dox this man, and eventually get him killed.
Well, yeah, you know what? I believe that, and therefore they should put his name out for everybody so we could congratulate him. What do you think of that, sir? Right?
Exactly.
Right. Of course. So, I don't think we ever had any doubt that that we were going to get that kind of investigation and that kind of decision on what. Well, now to be fair, since it was just a tourist visit gone bad, you would not expect to be killed on a tourist visit. So maybe there needs to be. Maybe the cyber ninjas have a crime investigative unit, police division, and they can come to Washington after they get done with their extremely credible, legitimate, and believable audit of the Arizona vote in Maricopa County for the presidency, and do their own investigation of the Ashley Babbitt story. By the way, I just talked for 1 minute and said nothing. I really did say nothing there, but of course that should end it. But as you know now, nothing is ever over, right? Because she's a martyr. She will still be a martyr. This isn't going to take away her martyrdom from people who invoke her name, right?
Just wait till January the 6th, and the remembrance will be, okay, we're going to remember this, but we also have to celebrate her. We also, that has to be done in equal measure, that this happened, but also we have to celebrate the life of Ashley Babbitt. So I think that's the game that these people are going to try to play. But I know the story that you want to get to, and I know you've been champing at the bit on this one. It is Mike Richards, who very gracefully stepped down after a lot of scrutiny was put on some statements he made many, many years ago. The Jeopardy producers have fucked this up 6 ways till Sunday. Apparently, Mayim Bialik is going to be the one who steps in and fills in as they try to figure out exactly what to do, as Mike Richards will not be the host of Jeopardy on a permanent basis, Brad.
Right. So she's doing 3 weeks of shows, 15 shows right now. Okay. So that's supposedly going to buy them some time. It would be as if Joe Biden could get her to do, 15 days worth of a holding pattern over there in Afghanistan while we get the people out. Painful stretch there.
Yes.
So this is what just kills me, and I don't see anything to the contrary yet so far. And Britt, to me, the management, the ownership of that show is everybody we ever worked for in radio.
Yeah.
Their inability, right? Hang on. Their inability to either make a decision or then to make the wrong decision and then try to cover it up and blame somebody else. In this case, they're blaming Mike Richards, right? The guy who they didn't vet enough because he worked there for all those years as the executive producer and he'd done game shows before. So they figured they didn't have to look at him. You know, this is like the Brett Kavanaugh thing. Okay. Guess what? Brett Kavanaugh, not as much of a respected judge as you thought. He likes beer.
And he cries about it too.
He cries about it. So they dump Richards after it's discovered he made some stupid comments on a podcast, which, by the way, Britt, goes right to why not only will you and I not work in radio ever again, it goes to the why you and I will never work in radio again, because someone could go back to every one of these podcasts and find all kinds of shit that we're saying now that we would have never said on the radio. And we usually tag that with, why are we able to say that?
Because we're on a podcast.
But that wouldn't matter. Right.
No.
But that would not matter if somebody wanted to come after us if we were back on a commercial radio station. So here's the Sony management that owns the show. And they make the decision about this guy, Richards. It's an inside job all the way. It's the Dick Cheney looking around for a vice president. And what happens? Dick Cheney is handed a mirror and he sees himself and he goes, that's the guy. That's the guy who should get the job. And they do this with Mike Richards, and they put out this Potemkin sham, fraudulent, alleged a couple months of auditions where it's just obvious that no one ever had a chance except this guy. And then it blows up in their face. So what do? They're going to fuck this up again, it looks like to me, because they should just name her, Miam, just name her the host now. Don't do the temporary shit. Don't. What is most, I think, disruptive to the audience is lack of consistency. All you need to do is put somebody competent in there. And when you look back at a lot of the guest hosts, I didn't see them all, but from the ones I saw and some of the ones who got really good reviews that I didn't see, guess what? This is not the hardest job in the world. It isn't the job that needs the most vetting and the most, the greatest amount of skill in the history of broadcasting, television, game show. It is not that hard. Trebek made it seem easy. And yeah, he carved out his old thing, but he started when he was in his, late 30s, I guess, early 40s. And he, as Simon Cowell used to say on American Idol, you made it your own. He made it his own.
He was
so
like,
the answer is you don't duplicate that. No. You know, I really think if they want to turn a corner on this, you know, and she's obviously competent, but I think you got to open it up a little bit and allow the goddamn host to say something when someone says something stupid. Add some comedy to this show. Stop, you know, nothing is the same forever. Everything changes. Allow it to open up, because you know what? They have liberalized and they have gone soft from a crime perspective on allowing answers that shouldn't be allowed.
Oh, you're gonna stick to that. I think
I'm sticking to that. Is that fucker still on, the guy who's been winning, or is he finally gone? They finally get rid of him. I didn't see it last week.
I couldn't tell you.
But this guy keeps giving last names only.
Johnson, Williams.
Yes. Yeah. And things like that. And he'll say, what is Johnson? Hey, my Johnson is right here, buddy. You want to see it? Not who was Lyndon Johnson. So it's interesting. They've changed that. They've dumbed it down for the contestants. They really have. But as far as the hosting job goes, she'll be fine. And whatever happened to people don't watch the show for the host. They watch it for the game and for the players. And for
that was true. That was true up until one time. But we all know.
But they allowed it. They allowed it to become a personality cult,
True.
and it's their own fault.
And Trebek was a lot better on Card Sharks and High Rollers than he ever was on Jeopardy. We all know it. Everybody acknowledges that.
Absolutely. He doesn't get credit for that. It's like Johnny Carson was better on Who Do You Trust?
For the longest time, I was the only guy who liked Chuck Woolery as the host of Wheel of Fortune better than Sajak. That's my old man thing that I still. And then Chuck Woolery turned out to be like a huge, massive right wing fuck. So then I just totally gave up on that.
So is Sajak. Yeah. So is Sajak.
Well, Sajak's a little less vocal than Chuck Woolery is. That would be the one.
That's because he has the job right now. He doesn't want to lose his job.
Correct.
Woolery has nothing to lose except Australian Dream. That shit. Shit that he's peddling.
Now, does Mike Richards become a cause célèbre as the latest head on a pike as part of the cancel culture? Is that what?
I don't think so.
Now? I hope not.
I don't think so.
I'm tired of hearing that.
I mean, the important question, and this goes back to the idiots that we've worked for, all embodied in the Sony management that owns the show and makes the decisions about Jeopardy. To put out last week when this story broke, I think it happened Thursday or Friday, right? We didn't know about it last week.
Yeah, they took out. I think they took out the trash with it on Friday.
Right. That at the same time, they want you to actually believe. They want to pretend, number one, that he resigned. Okay, his post.
True. That
right?
is true.
Wait,
yeah.
that's the first one.
That's
wait,
right.
but it gets worse. But he's going to retain his position as executive producer. And you're supposed to believe that this is almost it's not a lateral move, but it's nothing changed. Everything's fine with this guy. The reason at the end that he got tossed was because apparently they had, again, we had this at radio stations. Everybody were having a big meeting today at 3:00 in the conference room. Apparently they had that in effect at Jeopardy. And people were just all over this guy's ass. We don't want to work with him. We're fed up with him. He's fucked up our image by this shit being and so the management caved, as they should have caved. They should have never had him there to begin with, and they got rid of him. And to think that these people who didn't want him as the host of the show still want to take orders from him as the main man, as executive producer, is laughable. But that's what stupid management does. They don't make a decision correctly, and then they waffle and they shuck and they jive and they tap dance and they think the people are stupid. So
didn't a more talented broadcaster than we are call it geniusry? Wasn't that how he referred to it at one point in time? The geniusry of management.
Would that be Keith? Is that a Keith Larson?
That's Keith Larson.
That sounds like a Keith Larson.
That's exactly right.
He would call it geniusry. So.
Well, that's all I got for today. How about yourself? I think I've unloaded everything else.
That's plenty. I was before we start. I was of the mind that we ought to just start with Jeopardy. Yeah. But I guess in effect we went with Final Jeopardy.
You know what's Final Jeopardy? Yeah. Afghanistan. That's
yeah. See, like at the end of the show, sometimes people on Final Jeopardy, when they truly don't know the answer, they'll just put a question mark, or they'll put something.
Hi, Mom. Something
hi,
like
Mom,
that.
or Smart Alex. The host should be able to just go at it. Okay. Yeah. Just what are you, a moron? What are you, a dunce? What are you?
How can you be that stupid?
Too stupid to live, as George Costanza said. Get off of the show. It should be like on Austin Powers. The thing should drop down and you don't see the person.
You die. Yeah, that's it.
You die. That's all. It's over. All right.
We'll see you Tuesday.